Hello everybody, today we're going to forge a knife from the second part of that Cy Swan low layer twist Damascus billet and see what we come up with. I sent the last knife to the Essential Craftsman, Scott. I don't think it's arrived yet, but I'm anxious to hear what he thinks about it. I'm going to start by widening this billet just a little bit, and then we'll forge in our tang first. This is going to be a hidden tang knife, so that we have more material for a blade. So we'll get maybe a bigger blade out of this one. So I'm going to forge the point now. It's a little more difficult than it should be because I forged the tang first, and that was intentional so that I could make sure not to use too much material for the tang. I just forged it out with exactly what we needed so I'd have as much material as possible for the blade.
Grind away some delamination.
I had to grind out a little delamination there, so I'm going to hammer on it a little more and we'll see what happens.
I don't know how well you can see it, but there's sort of a hairline going all the way up here and up to there. Sort of the same thing on this side, not as deep, but I think that's a delamination. I'm going to forge it a little more, but I think this is delaminated. We'll see.
There's more stuff opening up. I'm going to start grinding a little bit away and see how deep this goes.
Kept grinding and grinding, but it's just going all the way through. I don't know if I can cut it off here, forge out a puko. I don't know. I feel sunken right now. I don't know. I might have to put this down and come back to it. And right now all I want to do is throw it out. Such a rare and valuable piece of Damascus to me that I don't know. So here I cut off the tip of the knife to get past all the bad welds. And you can see at first I cut this portion off trying to save material, and it's hard to see. You probably can't see it, but there's one delamination that goes about there, another right about there, and then a superficial one right there. So I cut back a little further and we're basically good. There's just a superficial delamination right there. So I think at this point we're good to go. I'm going to forge the rest of the blade. I don't know what it'll be. I don't think I have enough material for a little pocket bowie anymore. So I guess it'll be like a puko or a paring knife. We'll see what it looks like when I get it thinned out a little.
Yeah, that's a big time bummer. I had to set that down for a few days and come back to it. There's just not much material left after I had to cut off the front 40 to 50%. So at this point I've decided I'm just going to make like a little micro bowie. I think that's superficial. I just think it's superficial. All right, the knife is normalized twice, then quenched in Parks 50. I've tempered it, and then we'll finish the grinding.
So I've got it grounded. I ground out those major areas concerned, but there's still some other areas here. These seams in this weld, like particularly that one and maybe a spot there, are just not as tight as they should be. I don't know it's delaminating, but it's not as solid as it should be. And there's some spots on this side too. Those are scratch marks from the belt, but there's a spot like right there where something's starting to open up, maybe. I could etch this and those would become invisible. Like I can finish this knife, those would not be noticed after an etch, and they don't run across the edge, so they wouldn't affect the cutting surface. But the problem is when you etch, you introduce acid into the blade, and such that ferric chloride gets down in those and maybe works its magic underneath the surface a little bit, you could develop some issues. And it'd be hard to clear the ferric chloride out of there entirely. And so I think the issue in my mind is whether or not you're going to set up some permanent corrosion issues sort of in the blade and right under the blade at a surface level, but I just don't know how much more time to put into this. I guess that's the question. Normally I would not finish this blade, but I don't know what to do. What would you guys do? All right, I put a light etch on this so you can see what the pattern would be. It's a really nice low layer count pattern. There's still some decarb around here I'd have to get off if I was going to finish this. You can't see those spots, the sketchy welds. You would never know they were there, but they would be there. And I've decided I'm just not going to finish this because of that, which is a shame because I really like this profile. But I think that's the right thing to do. So I'll just keep this, set it aside, and I don't know what I'll do with it, but stare at it because I love it.
Well, I mean, that was a lot of fun. I learned something every time I forge. If you've never had a knife warp, crack, or delaminate, you've just never forged. So it happens. I debated whether or not to show you guys this video, but then I decided I probably should because, I told you there'd be a second knife. And I didn't want anyone asking questions about what happened to it, but this is how it goes. This is just what happens when you forge blades sometimes. So thanks for watching. You guys take care.